Hello, World of Tank Blitzers. It's Littlefinger. Hey, Object 252 is back in store. We're going to do a full tank review on it. And look at this. Your friends are going to be clapping for you if you do pick up this tank. And I'll tell you why. Let's go up to the store here real quick. The hardened Object 252U, 10,000 gold, gets you all equipment slots unlocked and 10 5x boosters. If you've got the credits, my recommendation would just be to get the tank by itself for 8,500 gold. We've established that pretty much the standard for tier 8 premiums is sitting right about 7,500. This tank is worth the extra 1,000 gold. Now if we look at it, it's got an extreme pike nose, and by that, if you watch this point right here when I switch over to the IS-3, you see how the IS-3 is much lower, much higher. What that does is it makes obviously your lower plate bigger, but then it also increases this angle on the top of the tank. Also, compare this angle here on the back to the IS-3. Again, it is much flatter, making it much more likely to bounce. Also, look at the turret right here and how thin of a profile this is, say, compared to the IS-3. So, on top of that, your armor is actually thicker than the IS-5, IS-3, IS-6, all of these Russian heavy tier 8 tanks. It does lead to a lot of bounces. This is my go-to tank for realistic, for ratings, because you do get so many bounces in this tank. The downside is it's a little bit slower, and the reload is longer at 14 seconds versus a high 12.7 or 13 for like the IS-3, but you're doing 420 alpha versus 400. So let's turn this over to Armor Inspector first, and then we'll get into the gameplay. Alright guys, here's Armor Inspector. This is a really great tool for looking at your armor, a lot of other things including Map Inspector, replays, and heat maps. One-time fee, really worth it. But as you can see, Object 252U pulled up here. We've got a little bit of spaced armor on the sides, and as I was saying before, the lower plate is going to be your biggest weakness. It's 100 millimeters thick with 150-ish of effective armor. The front here on the pike nose is 130 millimeters thick, but look at these numbers. That's 500 millimeters of pen. As we get into the turret, 220 on the front, but look at all of this angling, making it almost 500. And then forget the side cheeks on this thing. You're not penning there. You can pen the cupolas here right at 150, but look how small they are. That is going to be extremely difficult to pen. As we turn the tank around again, you know, if you can get perpendicular, this is where you want to be shooting the tank. Basically underneath or right above these tracks here. It's 100 mil on the side. Because of the angles on the side of the tank here, 100 mil turns into 200 effective, 223 up here on the side of the turret. So if we switch on back to pen view here, I have got this as being shot by a K91, which is a tier 9 heavy Russian tank. Obviously I pulled that up because it was recently for sale for pretty cheap, and there's quite a few of them running around these days. But again, green here on the front, going to be able to pen the cupolas here. And you can see here how much you can angle this tank. So again, we're going to use shooting off of the front tire, trying not to over angle here, or you're going to start getting into some green areas. But again, look at that body of this tank is staying red for the most part. And let's just see if we go back to a tier 7. How about IS-2? Yeah, this is what you're going to see here, guys. So again, going to be able to pen that front. You want to show that hidden, keep it hidden. But apart from that, most of this tank stays red, even when you're over angled here. So this is why this tank is so much fun, especially in realistic mode where there's no heat skins, just because people don't know where to shoot this tank. Alright guys, Canal, This is the Supremacy in realistic. All the battles in realistic are Supremacy, but this mode has been recently available on the weekends, and it's quite fun actually. The difference being that you know you can be spotted only by one tank. You're really not lit up on the mini map, so it really requires a good team communication and I mean, absolutely having to keep your eyes open all the time, um, just because you know you're not getting the alerts, you're not getting red dots, and the tanks aren't showing on the mini map. But anyway, so we come into B here, and part of the reason that I wanted to show you this is just how difficult this tank can be to pen. So obviously I was a little bit too far over there. I think they're getting a little bit of that lower plate, so we'll go ahead and angle this a little bit better. Although I have already bounced 970 damage, so there we go. We secure the cap. We know we can't pen the front of the T-29 unless he turns his turret to the side, and that's the other thing that makes this tank so strong in realistic, is because there are no heat skins. You have to know where you can pen. You know, a little bit of dangerous pulling out this way here, but again, the armor on this Object 252U is, I mean, if there were heat skins right now, they would be just seeing nothing but dark red. We know we got to aim for that lower plate. And again, like I said, 420 is your average roll on the realistic battles. There is no RNG as far as that goes. You know, no plus 20%, minus 20% on the shot. It either pens or it doesn't, and you get your 420 roll. So 2 Tigers to the right here, and I know there's some tanks over here at C. There is that Russian accuracy on the gun. But to be honest, the difference between this gun, the IS-5, the IS-6, IS-3, there's not a lot of difference when it comes to the dispersion numbers. The main difference is you've got a little bit longer of a reload, and you're doing that 20 hit points more damage. Your average is 420 versus 400 on all of those other tanks. And to me, that would be a little bit of a negative. You know, I've always talked about having that sweet spot of a tank that doesn't take forever to load. As you can see, there was 2 tanks over there, the SU or ISU. ISU, we'll go ahead and get a shot into him right here. But as I was saying, you know, I'm not real fond of tanks that have a very short reload but don't do much damage, because you have to be on target, you have to be exposed in order to get your damage numbers in. But you know, a tank like this with a little bit longer reload, if you miss one shot, it really can impact the game. But to be honest, I think that's really offset by the damage that this can do and the armor on it. You'll see here I am now on a 4-on-2 situation, 4-on-1 situation. It's T-29, he doesn't even see me. Look at this, he's looking away. Another bounce. Now he's probably seen me, he's gonna back down. We'll finish him off. But just about anywhere that this IS-5 is trying to shoot me, he bounces. I'm trying to get up to a point where I can hide this lower plate, bounce off the back, another 400 bounce. As you can see, in a realistic battle here, we've bounced over 3,600 damage. Now we're up to 4,000 blocked. I mean, we are going to lose this game, but I think this just exemplifies the armor on this tank and how difficult it is to pen it. So it was a very valiant effort there. I certainly did my fair share of damage. But again, in a mode like this where a lot more skill is involved, it just really exacerbates the issue of the player base not really knowing what they're doing. But again, it doesn't go against your stats. So look at that, 26 hits received. That's insane. Um, so anyway, here's another example. I got myself into a real bad situation. However, I'm hull down, and yeah, I've sped this up just because I just want to show this little clip of, you've got tier 9 TDs shooting at me here, and outside of that shot there, it must have been an HE shot. He's unable to pen me. I'm bouncing shots from other places, and that's because I found a nice hold down position. So even when you do get yourself into a bad spot, as long as you're hold down, it's going to be difficult for these other people to get penning shots in. Alright guys, so here's a game I played on Castilla Supremacy, and decided that I'd be super aggressive in this. Try to get spots for my team and just be out front, which is certainly something you can do, especially if you've got a map where you can get hull down in this tank like I've shown you. You'll bounce shots for days in this tank. So we're going to go the heavy side. We're going to go to C to the windmill here, and I know you've probably seen this move several times from the opposite spawn. Don't really see it too frequently from this side, but what I'm going to do here is quickly cross on over and try to get into this little ramp area here before I am spotted. And there we go. There's a couple spots early, and I'm tucked into here now, pretty much in safety. Obviously they can shoot through that building, but we'll get turned around here and hopefully get into a nice side scraping position. But this move versus I'm not sure who that was there on our team that was already taken out, but pushing up straight into C, obviously you're gonna get lit up and shot pretty quick. And if this plan holds through, I've got some support behind me, and these tanks are gonna have to come out into the open to get some shots. But as you can see from the mini map, half my team there went to B. And so, just using a nice side scraping position wherever I can here off of the building. Yeah, I'm not sure you can get through there, dude. That's probably not going to work out well for you. We took a big HE shot there. Again, we should be leery of that opening. But again, this is a nice position to hold them off of C, keep them away from B, and just using this tank's armor as best as I can right here. Now, as we talk about the armor, like I said, the turret armor is 250 mil on the front. Compare that to 201 on the IS-5, 220 on the IS-3, and 150 on the IS-6. So 250. The next closest, like I said, is the IS-3 at 220. The sides at 150 versus 129 on the IS-5, 110 on the IS-3, and then 150 on the IS-6. So you've got the same turret side armor as the IS-6, 100 on the rear, very comparable to all the other tanks at 90 and 110. So not a lot of advantage other than just how narrow and sloped the back is. You've got much more effective armor. The hull, again, 130 mil on the front. That compares to 120 on the IS-5, 110 on the IS-3, and 100 on the IS-6. And again, as I showed you in the opener, because that pike nose is a little bit higher, that slope is going to give you more effective armor. Downside is that lower plate is a little bit more easily penned. But again, you can be very aggressive in this tank. You're going to get a lot of bounces. We're just going to push up on the T-32, and I know that, you know, at 337 hit points, he doesn't have enough to kill me. I can finish him off with my 400, 420 roll. So I wasn't too worried about that, whether or not he penned or not. But, you know, T-49 obviously is going to pose a bit of a problem on the other side. He's at B, and so we're going to go back to C here and cap it out. So we can talk about our speed. 35 kilometers per hour is our top speed, the same as the IS-6. The IS-5 is faster at 42 kilometers per hour, and the IS-3 is at 38. So, the tank does not feel too slow as far as a heavy goes. So I wouldn't let that be a concern of yours. It gets where you need to go. So, you know, the effective horsepower to ton ratio is right there with the IS-6. So if you do have the IS-6, it's going to drive just like that. You've got 170% on the credit coefficient. So it makes good money. The repair cost is 4.5. So just like the IS-6, it's a good money maker. But what I found interesting here is we chased down this T-49. If you look at the Blitz Day 90-day averages, the IS-3 has a 51% win rate. The IS-5 has 53, and the Object 252U has a 60.5. That's almost 7% higher than the IS-5. The average damage is almost 300 points higher at 1634 versus 1380 or 79. So these stats, you know, just prove that this tank is better, even though you've got lower DPM. And just for the hell of it, let's throw one more game in here, guys, on Hellas. This is a Supremacy game, and you know, I think obviously the word is out on the armor on this tank. I think it's one of those tanks that people probably aren't going to push you one-on-one just because of the difficulty in penning it. And so that means that you can use it effectively to basically hold a line. And so it makes it also a very good support tank. I like to try to get to some, obviously, hold down position here on Hellas. We're going to go around A and just try to peek in, around B and try to peek in on A. And we can side scrape nicely, or we can get hold down. Here we have the grounds higher above us, so hold down there nicely. We can only hit our gun. But now that they know that we're here, you know, you're not really going to see a push. And there's a 252U, and you see all that red. You see how dark that red is. I mean, it's almost scary to look at. So I think this is why I really enjoy it as far as a ratings battle tank, because even if you're on a losing team, you can survive longer, you can still get good damage numbers, and therefore, even in a losing effort, you're not going to lose as many rating points. So this VK is kind of pushing me out here a little bit, so look at that bounce on the 252U. IS-3's given up, and and throwing HE at us. We'll take that all day long. I'll trade 170 for 420. But again, side scraping off of this pillar so that the object 252U, who is perpendicular to us, and quite honestly, I should have taken a shot of the 252U. Interesting thing there, and I don't know if you noticed that my view went up, but my reticle did not. I don't know if that's an auto aim issue. I've had it happen to me a couple times where, you know, I've been on the side of the turret and I want to just raise it to get to a little softer spot, and the gun hasn't gone, but my view did. So anyway, we missed that one, but finish him off nonetheless. One more there into the 252U, and you know, just a very standard, straightforward game. Nothing spectacular. You know, we're gonna get behind here and put HE into the back of the American tank, and you know, we're gonna finish with 2,500 damage. So it's a very capable tank. I think for 8,500 gold, it is definitely worth it. And I don't think you're going to be too disappointed in it unless, you know, you have issues with the Russian gun and the accuracy. You just do have to aim a little bit longer. You can't snapshot in and expect everything to pan. So guys, yeah, make your decision wisely, and hope to see you out on the battlefield. Not really in a 252U, but there we go. And remember, have fun out there, stay safe, get educated, not fingered. Littlefinger out.